us. So we have our next speaker, Sri S. Sridharan. Sri S. Sridharan is the senior most mentor, teacher, and consultant therapist of the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram. He is presently the trustee of KYM. He had a successful career as a merchant banker in a public sector bank for 28 years. He became a student of Yogacharya TKV Desikachar in 1980s and learned the nuances of yoga in the Gurukula style directly for over 3 decades, during which time he was exposed to all the important texts in yoga and application of yoga for illness and spirituality. From 2010 to 2015, he served as a member of the governing council of the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, the apex body for yoga of the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. He is also on the board of the technical committee of the Yoga Certification Board set up by the Ministry of Ayush, which is active in bringing certification for yoga teachers. He was recently awarded the title Dronacharya by the Rotary Club of Madras East. Widely traveled, he has represented India in the World Yoga Festivals in China and UK. He has authored a book which gives the biographical sketch of T. Krishnamacharya in Tamil, based on his private interactions with Yogacharya T. Krishnamacharya. His other interests include Carnatic music, in which he has composed many songs. Sridharan is going to talk about Patanjali Yoga Sutras and Swami Vivekananda's Raja Yoga.
Namaste, pranams to Dr. Atma Priyanandaji Maharaj, pranams to co-panelist Mridmay ji. I thank Dr. Atma Priyanandaji Maharaj in giving this opportunity to share my thoughts on these 2 great topics, which are like oceans. Probably in a time we will be able to do only a very small amount of justice to that. I start with a prayer, and today we are celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi everywhere. So I will start with a prayer to Ganesha. Om Ganana Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinmannoti Dasadanam Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Prayer to Patanjali. Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Cha Vaidyakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Abhagu Purushakaram Shankachakra Asidharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim Srimate Anantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha. Prayer to Swami Vivekananda ji. Ramakrishna Pita Yasya Janani Sarada Shubha Namami Jnana Putram Tam Vivekananda Yoginam. Prayer to my yoga teachers, Paramaguru and yoga teacher Desikachar. Sri Krishna Vagisha Yatishwarabhyam Samprapta Chakrankana Bhashya Saram Srinut Narankentra Yatau Samarpita Swam Sri Krishna Maryam Guruvariyamide Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatatara Krutodayam Yogacharyam Krishna Maryam Guruvariyamaham Bhaje Krishna Suri Dayapatram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanathāryam Vandegam Yogadeshikam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Bhadram Karnihi Vishnu Devaha Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaihi Tushtuvagam Sastanubhihi Yashem Devaki Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vridhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti na Saksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dhadatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. First, the approach that I am giving is, I will be talking on the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, how it is an authoritative text, origin, contribution to yoga, content, some essential message, and then Raja Yoga, what it is, and then Raja Yoga of Swamiji, commentary on Patanjali's Yoga Sutra by the Swamiji, lucid and scientific, giving special status to Raja Yoga, conclusion. We need to go to the roots of yoga now and reorient our practices to derive the ultimate desired benefit. First, the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra starts with the Yoga Sutra called Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Now, in giving an introduction like this, on the word Anushasanam, one of the commentators says, it is just not only the Shastra, it is something which has existed even before Patanjali. So the origin of yoga is even prior to Patanjali himself, which he admits. So yoga has origin in the Vedas. In the mantras, Vedas are divided into Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. In the Karma Kanda, we have rituals. In the rituals, we find use of pranayama, asanas and all. Jnana Kanda, of course, has knowledge part, which has come in the Upanishads. So, in the Upanishads, Kathopanishad talks about it. Tam yogamiti manyante, sthiram indriya dharana. There are a lot of references in Shvetasvatara Upanishad, etc. Now, when it came to the segment of darshanas, which are the essence of the Upanishads, like if Upanishads were considered to be milk, darshanas were taken out of it, like butter. The essence of the Upanishads, and they are called darshanas because they show, and they show truth, tattva. Now, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, as we generally call it, is called as Patanjala Yoga Darshana. It is one of the Shad Darshanas, Vaidika Darshanas. Generally, they are clubbed into two. Sankhya and Yoga forms one couple. Nyaya Vaisheshika, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. So basically, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra comes under the category of darshanas, but it is very special. It has 4 chapters running to 192 sutras, 195 sutras. There will be some differences among some places. It is a comprehensive philosophical treatise with a well laid out path, and in the process has brought out the best psychological science. There are 3 tattvas. When we are talking about darshana, there should be some idea about tattvas. There are 3 tattvas which are talked about in the Patanjali Yoga Darshana: Drashta, Drishyam and Ishvara. Drashta, the phenomenal world which we see, otherwise called as Prakriti. Drishyam, that which perceives. These are all special technical words which Yoga Darshana has used. Drishyam, that which is perceiving, soul, Purusha, Ishvara, Vishesha Purusha. That is the way Patanjali Yoga Darshana addresses Ishvara. There are three modes by which we can have the right perception, pramana. It is in the Patanjali Yoga Darshana, we get the three, Pratyaksha, Anumana and Agama. The drashta part is the Pratyaksha. We can see, we can feel, we can have the experience through our own senses and mind. But when it comes to Drishyam, it is Anumana. When there is something to be perceived, and there should be a perceiver. And when it comes to Ishvara, it is Sayesha Purveshamapi Guruhu Kalena Anavachetat. So he is the teacher, etc. It is through Agama that we come to know about the Ishvara. So three modes of right perceptions are given there. Then unique approach that is given in the Patanjali Yoga Darshana. What is the message? Even though it starts with Atha Yoga Anushasthanam, the second sutra talks about what is yoga, which is one of the best definitions, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Actually, every darshana has a common goal, relief from, permanent relief from suffering. In fact, Sankhya Karika says, dukkhatraya abhigatat. It starts with the word even dukkha. So dukkha, relief from dukkha, even including Vedanta, is the prime reason of a darshana. Shows path for relieving from dukkha, but permanent relief. In yoga, Patanjali Yoga Darshana, there is a speciality. The way it is arranged is called Vyuham. It is an arrangement, like an army Vyuham, Padma Vyuham in Mahabharata. Heyam, Hetu, Hanam, and Upayam. This is the comprehensive essential message from the Darshana point of view. And it is like a Vyuham. In fact, this Vyuham is also practiced in the Ayurveda. When Ayurveda prescribes, Ayurveda looks at a disease, it looks at this in the same way. What is the Heyam? What is the Hetu, cause? And what is the Hanam, goal? And what is the Upayam? This means, which is very, very beautifully given in the Patanjali Yoga Darshana, is a means which teachers, everyone says, you can be followed in our way, day-to-day life itself. We have a problem, we need to find out what exactly is the problem. We have to find out the cause. Then we must have a goal, and then we decide on the upaya, or the means. Here in Patanjali Yoga Darshana, the heyam is dukkham. Heyam dukkham anagatam. The suffering which is yet to come is to be addressed. In fact, this should have been the first prime sutra, because this is the basic idea of darshana. Then when it comes to hetu, then there are two hetus, two causes which are given there. One is drishtu drishyayoho samyogo heya hetu. Samyoga. Samyoga, yoga. Samyoga, samyak, specially joined. In fact, interestingly, Patanjali Yoga Darshana is not taking the meaning of yoga from yujir yoga, yuj yoga, not joining. It is actually viyoga. It is viyoga. Here in Patanjali Yoga Darshana, yujir yoga is not taken, but yuj samadhavi is taken. The word samadhi is taken here. Why I am saying that is the hetu. The cause is drishtu drishyayoho samyogo heya hetu. Then we get two entities, drashta, drishyam. They are together in a particular way. And what is the cause of this samyoga? Tasya hetuhu avidya. Avidya is the cause. And this is a speciality of Yoga Darshana, which talks about the kleshas. They are all technical terms as far as the Yoga Darshana is concerned. And when Bhagavad Gita talks highly about the three gunas, Yoga Sutra talks about the kleshas, which are the expressions particularly of the two gunas, which are rajas and tamas. Hanam is the goal. The goal is Kaivalyam. Tadabhavat samyoga abhavaha hanam tadrishehe Kaivalyam. For the perceiver, for the drashta, it is Kaivalya, independence. The samyoga has been broken now. It has been broken away, and the Purusha is independent, absolute independence. What is the upaya? Viveka kyatihi aviplava hanopayaha. Viveka kyati, discriminative knowledge is the upaya. In fact, in two segments, upaya viveka kyati itself is reached through yoganga anushtanat ashuddhikshaye jnana deeptihi aviveka kyatehe. When one follows the Ashtanga Yoga, which consists of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, which are the Ashtanga Yoga, often called as Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Yoga, etc. This Ashtanga Yoga Marga is giving the results in this way. Yoga Anga Anushtana Ashuddhikshaye. The Ashuddhi, which is in the form of kleshas, Shaya, it's reduced. Jnana Deeptihi, the knowledge is coming out. It is there already. It shines. Aviveka Kyatehe, the endless Viveka Kyati is achieved. And when Viveka Kyati is achieved, then Kaivalya ensues. It is reached. This is the scheme in which it is done in Yoga Patanjali Yoga Darshana. There are some more specialities, and like there is a detailed analysis of the mind. It's called a chitta, the special word called chitta. It is different from the chitta which we find in elsewhere in either Vedanta and other places, because here Patanjali himself has chosen the word chitta, and commentators say it includes manas, ahankara and buddhi of the Sankhya together. That's what Swamiji also says. Now, this chitta goes in for a very detailed analysis, particularly through the vrittis, panchavrittis, which is the speciality of the Yoga Sutra. There is also this kleshas about which just now I talked, and they are the expressions of rajas and tamas. Now, they are pancha kleshas. They are called avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha. The avidya here is a speciality. It is also a special technical term for Yoga Sutra, Yoga Patanjali, Yoga Darshana. It is not exactly ignorance. If one knows that he does not know, it is vidya. Avidya is when I think I know, but I really don't know. That is the problem. And this is explained by the great commentator for the Yoga Sutra, Vyasa. All the commentators, everyone talks about this avidya. Anitya, asuchi, dukkha, anatmasu, nitya, suchi, sukha, atmakhyati, avidya. Then comes the drik darshana shaktyogo, ekatmata iva, asmita. The speciality is asmita. In fact, we have been just prior to this talk, we were looking at the karma yoga, etc. What is the problem in karma yoga? Why we have to go at length to discuss about it is karma is done through the instruments, the three karanas. The three karanas are kaya, vacha, manasa. They are karanas. And these karanas, according to Yoga Sutra, are bound to become impure through the kleshas. When the kleshas, particularly the rajas and tamas, takes over, because the instruments are made up of the three gunas themselves. Sankhya model of evolution, it is the three gunas. When rajas and tamas overtakes, which are expressed in the form of kleshas, excess affinity, unnecessary dislike, unwanted fear, when they take over, then all our actions go into problems. That is the central message of Yoga Sutra. Now, what is the path? Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-limbed path. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Yama, Niyama, disciplines. External, internal. Asana, the physical form of exercise, pranayama, often called breathing exercises, but Swamiji has different take, which we will discuss. Then we have pratyahara, control of senses. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi can be taken together to represent meditation. But the speciality of Patanjali Yoga Darshana is, we often generally think that this is the path that has been given, but there are more paths that are given. And there is unique special path called Kriya Yoga, on which Swamiji has given some special interpretation, which I will take it up as soon as I come to Raja Yoga of Swamiji. Kriya Yoga, Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. In fact, the kleshas have to be put down by first doing Kriya Yoga. Only when the kleshas are down, we become even eligible to do the Ashtanga Yoga. But this Kriya Yoga is one of the most important contributions of Patanjali Yoga Darshana. In the first chapter, there are independently 9 paths which are also given, apart from these 2, Ashtanga Yoga and Kriya Yoga. They are called Ishvara Pranidhana, one of the most important. Ishvara Pranidhana, Prachardana Vidarana Vyamba Pranasya, how to handle the breath, and that will bring down the agitations of the mind. They bring down the antarayas, impediments, abhava, antarayas are taken away. Pratyakshetana adhikamaha, the mind moves towards inner self. Now, Maitri Karuna, very important bhava. These are all specials which are given in the first chapter. Now, the emphasis is on detachment. Actually, when it comes to Chitta Vrittis, and immediately after the Chitta Vrittis are explained, how to control Chitta Vrittis, which is the essential definition of yoga itself. Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Abhyasa Vairagyabhyam Tan Nirodha. The same statement will come in the Bhagavad Gita also. So, Abhyasa and Vairagya. And as far as Yoga Sutras are concerned, Vairagya is the most important, which will have to be kept till the end. Tat Vairagyadavi Dosha Bijakshaye Kaivalyam. Without Vairagya, the correct detachment, Kaivalya will not ensue. Absolute independence. So the importance of detachment coming with us till the end for the practitioner. Now, let us quickly go into the Raja Yoga, the word Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga, yoga is one only. There is only one yoga. But it takes various forms and names depending on the approach. So the word Raja Yoga, the word meaning according to our Paramaguru Krishnamacharya, he used to say, Raja means king. King is the first citizen. So we can call this as the foremost among the yogas, one way. Raja Danta, the front teeth is called as Raja Danta. So when we smile, the first 2 teeth are seen. They are called as Raja Danta. So they are the foremost. Another way of looking at the word Raja Yoga is like a Raja Marga, royal path. In any city, even in the ancient days, it looks like we still have King's Way in some places. It is Raja Marga. The road is so open, wide open, anybody can go. It is well laid out path. It is a well laid out path as far as the yoga is concerned. So Raja Yoga. So these types of interpretations are there. There is a mention of the word Raja Yoga in a text, Hatha Yoga Pratipika of Swatma Rama, which is around 16th century, around that. There it says Hatha Yoga leads to Raja Yoga. Shri Adinathaya Namostu Tasmai Enopatishta Hatha Yoga Vidya Vibhrannate Bronnata Raja Yogam Arodhamichom Adirogini Va. This is the first sloka. It says Hatha Yoga leads to Raja Yoga. There in that text, the word Raja Yoga has got a lot of synonym words, equivalent words, which one is Samadhi. In fact, the commentator Brahmananda, whose commentary is called Josna for this great work, he says that Raja Yoga represents the Asampragnata Samadhi of the Patanjali Yoga. Asampragnata Samadhi of the Patanjali Yoga is Raja Yoga. So there has been discussions about this even earlier about the word Raja Yoga. Now let us come to the definition of Raja Yoga according to Swamiji. Raja Yoga seeks to attain the divine by igniting the flame of knowledge of the self within. It seeks to attain the divine by igniting the flame of knowledge, Viveka Khyati. In fact, Jnana Deeptihi, Aviveka Khyatehe, Jnana Deepti, and the Atma, the self within. Most seekers do not have the patience and perseverance to follow this path for the sacrifices that it calls for. Raja Yoga dispels that the mind is perverted to follow the path of reason. It dispels that. Teaching the process of meditation and concentration, it tells you to confront the restlessness of the mind and uproot it. This is the very precise definition of Raja Yoga according to Swamiji. Now, in fact, Swamiji calls the yoga itself as a science of yoga. Raja Yoga is a science. No belief is necessary, Swamiji says. Observation is the cardinal principle of any science. And in Raja Yoga, the internal world is the domain of observation. The laboratory of experimentation is oneself. The instrument of exploration is the mind. The object of exploration is also the mind. Swami Sarvagatananda, who has written the commentary, whose book compiled of the Yoga Sutras lectures, will say that mind which is struggling is the mind which is used as an instrument. That mind where there is total calmness is what is the final goal. It is the mind which is the instrument through which it is used. There is always a sadhana and siddhi. The sadhana part is also from the mind. The siddhi part is also from the mind. Yoga, that way, is both a sadhana and a siddhi. Intense concentration is the method. In fact, we get everything in the concise, neat book of Raja Yoga of Swamiji, where there are two major segments. The first part of the segment contains his exposition of Raja Yoga, which runs to few chapters. The second part is his interpretation of Patanjali Yoga Darshana. I am taking a major part of the first in explaining the Raja Yoga part, and I'm just giving a few of the interpretation, because every one of the interpretations that Swamiji is given is worth separately reading and reflecting on for the Yoga Sutras of the Patanjali. But let us come to the Raja Yoga part of the first part of the nice book, which compiles all Swamiji's lectures done on this topic. Finally, self-transformation is the proof. What is the proof of the science of yoga? Science of yoga science needs all this. This is how self-transformation is the proof. Now, what is the science of Raja Yoga? He talks about it, Swamiji. The science of Raja Yoga proposes to put before humanity a practical and scientifically worked out method of reaching truth. Practical and scientific. Science of Raja Yoga, in the first place, proposes to give us a means of observing the internal state. The instrument is the mind itself. In fact, he says the mind, studying the mind. The power of attention, when properly guided and directed towards the internal world, will analyze the mind and illumine facts for us. Concentration is the key, according to Swamiji. When, by analyzing his own mind, man comes face to face, as it were, with something which is by its own nature eternally pure and perfect, he will no more be miserable, no more unhappy. by analyzing his own mind, man comes face to face with something which, in fact, he does not talk about the word soul, etc. very nicely, by its own nature. Tata drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. That is the sutra of Patanjali. He says it's by its own nature, eternally pure and perfect. Drashta is called as pure and perfect in Yoga Sutra. Shuddhaha api pratyayanupasyaha. That is the sutra form goes. All misery comes from fear, from unsatisfied desire. Man will find that he never dies, and then he will have no more fear of death. When he knows he is perfect, he will have no more vain desires, and both these causes being absent, there will be no more misery, there will be perfect bliss, even while in this body. Most important part, Jivan Mukti. He is talking about that Jivan Mukti, there will be perfect bliss, Ananda, which is the state of Kaivalya. There is only one method, underline, only one method by which to attain this knowledge, and that which is called, within quotes, concentration. Even he calls often concentration, samadhi, as the equivalent words. Practice is the only way. The study of Raja Yoga needs no faith or belief. And that's what Swamiji says. Believe nothing until you find out for yourself. That's what it teaches us. Truth requires no prop to make it stand. This study of Raja Yoga takes a long time and constant practice. A part of this practice is physical, but in the main, it is mental. To get control over body and mind, we must take certain physical help. When the body is sufficiently controlled, we can attempt the manipulation of the mind. The first steps, the yama and niyama, as we see, are moral trainings. Without these as the basis, no practice of yoga will succeed. Underline this is most important in today's context. We need to know that yama and niyama forms the basis. It is like the foundation. No practice of yoga will succeed. Asana, to get firmness of the body, avoid illness, and to keep the back erect. They are all talked about in Bhagavad Gita also. Samakaya Shiro Grivam Dharayan Achalam Stiraha. Same thing, Swamiji says, head, neck, and body. It should be body. Body in a straight line. For that, we need to do asana. Pranayama, controlling the breathing. Breath is like the flywheel of this machine. Wonderful, wonderful simile that Swamiji gives. The body, the supply and regulating the motive power to everything in this body. Need to, Swamiji talks about the need to keep a separate room for practice and maintain it in a holy way. In fact, he is talking about special prayers to be done at the level of the mind for the welfare of the humanity, etc. And most important part of the first part of this Raja Yoga book is a very, very detailed exposition on prana. There are 3 segments: prana, psychic prana, and control of psychic prana called pranayama. Prana is the vital force in every being. Thought is the finest and highest action of prana. Every one of us who are all into yoga, particularly teachers and all that, we are all reading this segment of prana again and again to understand it, disseminate it. Thought, 3 states, Swamiji says: instinct or unconscious thought. He even says, as a mosquito is biting, we unconsciously do something in our body. He gives examples. Conscious reasoning, is this right? Is this wrong? This is called as tarka, vitarka in Yoga Sutra. Yoga Sutra calls this as tarka, vitarka. Then super consciousness is samadhi. In fact, in conscious state, Patanjali Yoga Darshana talks about 4, 5. Super conscious is the samadhi, perfect concentration, beyond the limits of reason, because tarka is crossed over. With vitarka vichara ananda asmita rupa anugamat sampragyataha. Comes face to face with facts. No instinct or reason can ever know. Psychic prana, he gives a detailed exposition about nadis, chakras, and kundalini. And pranayama, he gives certain suggestions, starting with deep rhythmic breathing with Om, then the Nadishodhana is his own way, with even ratios of 4, 16, 8, etc. And with bhavana, which is very important. He talks about bhavana in the pranayama. The segment of pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. And actually there are two chapters separately, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, one chapter. I have combined them together for want of time. The controlling of the mind and not allowing it to join itself to the centers, and is the controlling of the mind and putting it in the center, not allowing it is pratyahara. Swavishaya asamprayoge chittasya swarupanukara indriyanam pratyahara. This is the sutra very nicely brought out by this sentence. Dharana is to hold the mind to certain points of the body or in the lotus chakra, etc., in the heart. Dhyana, when the mind has been trained to remain fixed on a certain internal and external location, there comes to it the power of flowing in an unbroken current, as it were, towards that point. Here we can see that Swamiji talks about dhyana as a result of a practice. The mind has been trained. It remains fixed in a certain internal and external location. There comes to the power of flowing in unbroken current. So this is more important. Often we mistake dhyana to be like a process. Yes, they are all meditative practices, but the mind is taken to the process of dhyana. In fact, in the Yoga Sutra, interestingly, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi are relegated to the third chapter, which is Vibhudipada, which is not in the Sadhana Pada, and that gives us an idea that even starting with dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, the previous practices will lead one towards them. That's what Swamiji calls here as it's a state of dhyana. When one has so intensified the power of dhyana, continues to be in that, has to be able to reject the external part of perception and remain meditating only on the internal part, the meaning, that state is called samadhi. And I would like to, here I'm going to end up with the interpretations of Yoga Sutra. Swamiji is extraordinary by every sutra themselves. And that would take a separate session for that, more than 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours, etc. I am just taking 2, 3 to end up. Every interpretation to every sutra is unique. And let us take the sutra, Tapasvadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. This is the first sutra which I just explained about Kriya Yoga. In that, Swamiji has a special take. He says, he uses the word mortification for tapas, holding the rein firmly while guiding the body and the organs, not letting them do anything they like, but keeping them both under control. This is a very, very special interpretation to the word tapas, because most of the time the word tapas is a very, very ancient word, and it comes in Vedas, it comes in Bhagavad Gita. In fact, there are 3 types of tapas Bhagavad Gita talks about. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, everywhere. Now, the word tapas comes from the just root tapudahe. So it burns, anything that burns impurities is tapas. And Vedas say, in the Veda part, in the Mahanarayana Upanishad, it says, tapayiti tapo nanashanat param. It says, tapas is to fast. Fasting is considered to be tapas. And Swamiji talks about food. In fact, I did not bring it out, but he talks about the importance of food in yoga. Very, very important. He talks about it, and he even quotes Bhagavad Gita there in the Raja Yoga. So, but this idea of tapas, holding the rein firmly while guiding the body and the organs, not letting them do anything they like, but keeping them both under control, is very special. In fact, even if we have to go for fasting, we need to do this of holding it, not letting it go out. The the desire to eat will be there. There should be some amount of a control that is being brought in. Study those works which teach the liberation of the soul. Before I go to studying, one more point on the tapas. The prime commentator for the Yoga Darshana, Vyasa, says, Pranayama Parantapaha. He says Pranayama is the Parantapa. Raja Yoga of Swamiji, in that he talks about the Pranayama extensively. So that is also another important point. Study, and which is called Swadhyaya, those works which teach the liberation of the soul. In fact, he says two things. One is, not all study or study here. Even other studies about other things are not to be there. Anything that teaches liberation of the soul. Very nicely, he talks about avoiding controversies. Please do not get into controversies, whether this is the way, that is the way, and that will not lead you to the real path. Surrendering the fruits of work, we are discussing about it right across in the previous session, to the God, is to take to ourselves neither the credit nor the blame, but to give up both to the Lord and be at peace. And this is very nicely stated, but very difficult to follow. How to give it out? So unless our kleshas have been put down, there is a flow here in this, as we can see. A tapas will lead to Swadhyaya, and the Swadhyaya will lead to Ishvara Pranidhana. While they have to be practiced together, because that is the way it is given in plural, tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yogaha. But there is a linear way. Only when tapas is done, it cleanses the mind, and it cleanses the mind to the way that we become sattvic, and that makes us to study only those which are in terms of liberation, and that study itself will give us the right means by which our actions will be in a particular way. And finally, evolution theory has been rewritten, and this is a very wonderful interpretation of Swamiji for the sutra in the 4th chapter, Nimittam Aprayojanam Prakritinam Varana Bhedastu Tataha Kshetrikavate. One of the sutras for which there are a lot of interpretations. One of the reasons why the Patanjali Yoga Darshanam, or for that matter, yoga was rejected by Brahma Sutras or Vedanta is Etena Yogaha Pratyuktaha. The reason is about evolution. What is the cause of evolution? Sankhya says it is the cause is only from the Prakriti itself. And Yoga Sutra appear to support that view. But in the Nimittam Aprayojagam, there are interpretations to talk about how it is not directly that the Ishvara is doing anything, indirectly like a farmer. These are all the interpretations. But Swamiji's interpretation for this sutra is Patanjali reading the same words. The great ancient evolutionist declares that the true secret of evolution is the manifestation of the perfection which is already in every being. And this perfection has been barred, and the infinite tide behind is struggling to express itself. There is no reason to believe that competition is necessary to progress. He talks about it at length, about the modern day science way of evolution. He brings it into this sutra, and the survival of the fittest he is talking about it, and he throws it off. In the animal, the man was suppressed. But as soon as the door was opened, out rushed the man. So in man, there is a potential God kept in by the locks and bars of ignorance. When knowledge breaks these bars, the God becomes manifest. Final message, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity. This message is from the Raja Yoga book of the lectures of Swamiji. The goal is to manifest this divinity within by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this either by work, Karma Yoga, or worship, Bhakti Yoga, or mental discipline, Raja Yoga, or philosophy, Jnana Yoga, by one or more or all of these, and be free. So Swamiji has given us the choice to take them together or independent or join them in some matrix way and be free. With this, I conclude my talk. I want to thank Dr. Atmapriyanandaji Maharaj, for giving me this great opportunity to share a few of my thoughts. Thank you very much, Swamiji.
So thank you very much. Let's see if there are any questions.
There is a question.
Welcome.
Okay, number three.
So read it out.
What is the difference between Dhyan and Dharana? Extraordinary. I am blessed to be an audience. Okay. Dharana and Dhyana. Dharana precedes Dhyana. It is easily stated by people. If you take water and drop water from the top, the water droplets of water will come with break. That is called Dharana. That is a break. In Dhyana, there is no break. It is like an oil or a honey. So, if we start doing, actually, more than asking questions, only when we start doing Dhyana, we will understand this. There are interruptions, but we are going to do some effort to continue to keep that. That effort will be there. Actually, at the process of Dharana, three things will be there. I am doing, object is there, I am linked, that is there. When it comes to Dhyana, only two things will be there. And in Samadhi, they are joined together. What are the types of Samadhi described here? There are a lot of Samadhis described, like basically we start with Savitarka, Nirvitarka, Savichara, Nirvichara, Sampragnata, Asampragnata, Sabija, Nirbija, Dharmamega Samadhi. There are about 9 such Samadhis. They are all various states actually. We go from, actually there are a lot of objects which are presented. That's what Swamiji also talks about in the Raja Yoga. And he says there are a lot of objects which are given in the Yoga Sutra, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, starting from, we can have Bhavana Jnanam Surya Samyamad. We can do a dhyana on the Surya. So when it comes to grosser part, subtler part, outside, inside, the Samadhi becomes different. What is the role of Hatha Yoga in Kriya Yoga? Kriya Yoga is a part of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Hatha Yoga is a part separately, and we won't be able to combine Hatha Yoga and Kriya Yoga. If at all we want to say, some teachers say the tapas includes pranayama. Maybe Hatha Yoga can be a part, because Hatha Yoga includes pranayama. In fact, Hatha Yoga, according to Swatma Rama, the author is nothing but pranayama. In the commentator says it is ha and ta, two energies which are joined through pranayama. So that way, the tapas can represent the Hatha Yoga part of it. I think I have answered.
So I have two small questions.
Yes, Swamiji.
Yeah, one is, I've been always worried about the word Nididhyasana used in Vedanta, because none of the commentaries clarify this Nididhyasana. Bhagavan Bhashakara Shankara, Srodabhyo, Mantavyo, Nididhyasitabhya. It's just one line he writes, Nischayana Dhatabhya, etc. And in Vartika, he has some definition, Vekishwara gives some definition, and many people confuse Nididhyasana with the dhyana itself. What is your idea of the Nididhyasana in Vedanta vis-a-vis the dhyana and samadhi of yoga, if there is any comparison? Second is the Sanyama. Patanjali talks about the three things coming together. Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi, if you combine together, it's called Sanyama in one package. So one leads to Dharana, leads to Dhyana, then Dhyana to Samadhi. There are stages. So when one stage is crossed and you go to the next stage, how is it the three come together in a package that is called Sanyama? And he seems to emphasize the Sanyama so much. Sanyama made on various objects give you so many different kind of vibhutis. So is it not what we call in science a kind of a double counting or triple counting? So one leads to the other, this leads to that. Suppose you say, I have passed +2 and I have gone to the graduation. From there I have gone to post-graduation. Suppose you say, if you combine +2, graduation and post-graduation together, you will get something very extraordinary. This is slightly intriguing to me.
Okay, two questions. My understanding, Maharaj, of Nididhyasana, there is no such word here. So probably the various states of samadhis are talking about it. For example, in Vitarka state itself, Nitidhyasana is like a reflection, in which case Shabdhartha Jnana Vikalpaihi Sankirna Savitarka Samapatti. So there is an inquiry, but that inquiry is faulted because there is an amount of asmita in that. Smriti Parishuddhau Swarupa Sunyeva Arthamatra Nirbhasa Nirvitarka. See, basically, as Swamiji has put rightly here, dhyana, a meditative practice, will give us the ability to stay focused on an object. That itself is not the end. After I get the ability to stay focused on an object, which is achieved through the meditative practices, then I get into that object and keep it and then devour it. And that part is Nitidhyasana, which comes into the various states of samadhis. So probably the very word that it is Samprajnata Samadhi, they are all the Nitidhyasanas, because we are not stopping with Samadhi, but we are going deeper into it. And that is my understanding. Second is, in the word of Sanyama, which we have understood and our teachers have told us, is Trayam Ekatra Sanyamaha. So Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, when applied on one object, constantly over a period of time, Trayam Ekatra is the only word used. Trayam three, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. Ekatra means one object only. So can there be one object for Dharana, one object for Dhyana and one object for Samadhi? It is not possible, as Maharaj is asking. Here our teachers and others are saying practically, having only one object of inquiry in the mind, not exactly doing a meditative practice. Meditative practice is different, where I sit down and can have one object and do a meditation for a few minutes, few hours. But there is going to be a continuous inquiry on something. That is how scientists are able to find out. That's what my teacher Deshkachar will say. How did he suddenly say, when an apple is falling, how could he say he is in a different context, he is not in laboratory? So there is something going on continuously at the back of the mind. That is Sanyama. A Sanyama is a state where I have the ability to keep one object continuously on the mind. So if I have to do a Sanyama on sun, it does not mean that I will be standing before the sun for hours together only. I may be inside, I may continue to be in a different environment, but continuously what is going on in my mind is Sanyama till I am able to find a solution. Finally, Maharaj, my own understanding of this is, what is that we are looking at in Sanyama? Because the power is to be developed. When I develop the power of Sanyama to have something continuously in the back of my mind, as I drive my car, my mind is thinking of something else. If I have a project, my driving is going on, but my project continues to be in my mind. What should I talk today? How will I take care of this? So the ability for the mind to go in two directions is there. The one that is constantly kept in the mind is Sanyama, and why we should have that, and particularly is we should have only one, that is the Supreme Being, because that is the one which will take us towards the end. The Sanyamas will take us towards various siddhis and they will stop there. And finally, when it is going to be a reach where the inquiry will lead to a very subtle portion in me, the Sattva Purusha Yoga Suddhi Swami Kaivalyam. So the inquiry, who am I? The inquiry, what is the real self, is going on continuously at the level of the mind. It can be at the gross level by sun, moon, etc., at Nabhi Chakra. This is my interpretation, Maharaj.
Difficulty was Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi are mentioned as stages. When Dharana matures into Dhyana, does the Dharana still remain? Or when Dhyana matures into Samadhi, do Dharana and Dhyana still remain? If they don't remain, you can't say Trayam. So it appears, according to Patanjali, even if you go into the state of Samadhi, some element of Dhyana and Dharana still are there in the mind in the seed form. That is slightly disturbing to me as far as the sadhana Purusha is concerned.
Maybe it is about the one object, Maharaj. Actually, there can be one object of samadhi in the mind. That is what I am saying. Practically, my understanding is a person is doing so much of an artist, Maharaj. If you see, if you go and sit in a music concert, the person is able to do so much of a nice music. He is in the state of samadhi, totally. Otherwise, that music will not come. But still, when I ask some of the artists, they say still there is something going on in the mind. There is something else. I would like to stop that. They are able to see someone is sitting in front. So the ability of the mind to stay focused on one thing, but also to get into something else, is probably a property of the mind, Maharaj. And that is brought down in samyama. Samyama, it's only one.
Dharana involves asmita, but samadhi does not. So how do you put them together?
No, I have reached the samadhi, Swami Maharaj, with you in my talk. But what is happening in the mind is that completely in samadhi, is the complete samadhi where no other object can be there. There is a potential for another object to also enter, is a potentiality. That is totally avoided. One more thing is, samadhi continuously as a part of my life. I am moving around. I am doing my day-to-day core activities. I am not sitting down and doing samadhi. That is one object. I am in a core activity of the life. And what is the potential of the mind in that? That's what probably is the differentiation that we can say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swami. Thank
Very
you.
interesting, very well thought about, and very beautifully explained. From the basics, you took us to the highest and compared Swami Vivekananda. We're extremely thankful to you. So
Yes.
we'll have another opportunity. I was just discussing with Japasardhananda ji. So on Raja Yoga and Patanjali Yoga itself, we should have a thorough whole discussion.
Yes, Maharaj.
Will be one of them.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Then